Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Star Wars Galaxy of Yeti here. I'm still not quite sure where the Yeti is, but I've got a beer, so it's all good. Anyway, we're looking at something for my shard now on this roster review. This is SpeedyDaemon, and as you can see, he's rocking it in fleets, and he's got one heck of a bounty hunter team. I'd like to see Dengar turn gold, but otherwise, that is a beautiful looking team there. Let's go ahead and have a little look-see at the bottom. There's an awful lot of fluff down here. You're looking at like 71, 75, 69, 45, 52, 55, 50, 50, 51, 50. And he's got mods on him. So we're looking at a 1.7 million GP here, and look at that, 42 half geared, 55 partially geared, 42 partially geared, 50 partially geared, 50 partially geared, 51 partially geared, 55 partially geared, Captain On, 50 partially geared. So yeah, this is all a bit of an issue. This is just a lot of GP bloat. I mean, I know bloating's not supposed to be a deterrent anymore, or it's not supposed to count so much against you, but still, when you like partially gear so many people, so many tunes, it's really hard to get those higher gear levels. You know, like it's genuinely difficult to get those higher gear levels when you're just throwing gear everywhere, because you're always going to be out of little gear, big gear, whatever you need, the premium stuff or not. So this is something that I definitely think needs to be basically relaxed. We're gonna have to see a little bit more focus. Like, look at this, G8 Han Solo with a Zeta. It's one away from G9. I mean, with a Millennium Falcon in his starting team, this should be G10, G11. I just think that's kind of like some mandatory stuff. And this is basically near the top of his roster, all these G8s and G9s down here. And then you've got G10, G10, G11, G11, G10, G9 with Zeta, 2 away from G10. Then you got Bashla G9 with a Zeta, 2 away from 10. You know, this kind of thing, like, you need to see a little bit of focus. You need to try to get teams completed. If it's better to focus on one guy, then just focus on one guy. But this is how you're going to need to get moving forward, essentially, as in this kind of game. If you want to be effective in 7-star on the Chewie, nice, well done, sir. If you want to move forward in this game, in Grand Arena, Territory Wars, Territory Battles, etc., you're going to need to be able to put a little bit of focus. So let's go and look at my favorite ladies. So once again, like, we're seeing a lot of like partially geared tunes, 7, 9, 7, 7, and I think that's 6, and 5, 5, nothing. Once again, a little bit more focus. Pick a team and really try to focus on them. This is definitely one that I would recommend. Just going forward for raids, for Grand Arena Championships, Territory Battles, Territory Wars. It's a fantastic team. It's definitely often underlooked. You got some Grievous, some Droideka, B2, B1, Magna's over here. Once again, he's got the bones of the Grievous team going here. About to be 7, that kind of thing. Once again, there's a little bit of a scattergun approach, but there's some work on a team that I find very useful, especially for, you know, going forward with Padme and everything. So we've got some work on the Darth Revan tunes over here, and work on the Jedi Knight Revan team over tunes over here, with more with Candy, Karth, etc. Once again, all partially geared, partially leveled. This has got to feel, I'm assuming as a player, he has to feel like he's consistently always out of credits, like 100% of the time, because he's leveling up all these little characters a little bit at a time, and he's got to feel like he's always out of gear because he's gearing up the plus signs as they show up, it looks like. And so that's something, like I said, I keep coming back to it. It's going to need to change to go forward. Otherwise, you're going to get spread too thin, you're going to get frustrated, and you're probably going to quit. Just because you'll feel like you're never getting anywhere. There we go. Jolie needs 2. He looks solid. 2 to 9, and then we got to get him up. Got to get him up. You got the bones of a Bastula team that can do some work. I haven't looked at mods, but I remember him complaining about mods and not getting good ones. So I'm assuming that the modding is going to be hit or miss. Galactic Republic. Sort of work on a lot of these guys. Once again, just focus, focus, focus. Go laser focus on a couple of good teams. Ewoks. All of them have a lot of work, or some work, not a lot, but all of them have work. With Ewoks, you're gonna want to really pick the top pair. Like Tebow is not a good tune. He's one of the worst in the game. Chirpa's got a great lead. He's coming out of Cantina. Haklu, the taunt, does a dispel. He's coming out of the Cantina. That's a guy. You absolutely need Elder. You absolutely need Logray, and I think Wicket is worth the farm. Wicket is much better than Scout. So those would be the 5 that I would choose there. These 4 and Chirpa. I know his hunters are good. Just looking at what's going on there. Partially geared, partially geared, partially geared, partially geared. Embo's a fantastic tune. That's definitely something that can upgrade, but it would probably be at the expense of Cad Bane. So it's kind of one of those give or take kind of things. Empire needs gear. Definitely needs gear. Bones of a good team, though. That's the classic Empire right there. Just need to get a little bit more gear on them all, and that could be really useful going forward in, once again, most game modes. Let's see what he's got for First Order. Just like everywhere else, he's got a little bit of work on all of them. I like what's going, though. He's got the First Order Stormtrooper there. He needs to do Fox. Phasma, unfortunately, is just not a very good tune. I don't think she's necessary at all. I have her at G8, and I was planning to take her a little bit higher as a miscellaneous lead, but then I just kind of realized that she's a bit trash. So I'm not going to invest the gear that she needs because she's actually a kind of difficult gear. Definitely one of the worst for First Order. But Fox is fantastic. He's coming out of the Cantina. That could really round out a First Order team. But once again, we need gear. I've seen a bit of work on his troopers. It's kind of scattershot, kind of all over the place. You're going to want to get Death, Veers, Stark, Range, Snow. And out of this, that's pretty much your team is right here. Short Trooper is really useful going forward with as a taunt for, say, like an Empire team. You can plug and play him into most teams. He's pretty decent. I don't think Stormtrooper's really worth it. And Magma's a pain in the ass to gear, and he has uses. But that's something I'd more along the lines I would get later. Like Magma is a decent plug-in for Death Trooper if you're going to use Death Trooper elsewhere or something like that further down the line. But right now, those 5 are the guys that you're going to be looking for. Alright, so going through what you've got work on, I think you should really focus on Jedi Revan. You're not going to get him this time, but just keep working on Jolie, keep starring him up. Keep working on Zalbar, keep starring him up. The other option is to just go with the Sith Empire and just worry about Darth Revan. Like I said, he's not as versatile in the raids, so there's that. I don't know He's kind of a speed meta, so for Darth Revan, mods are really going to be the difference between winning and losing most of the time. So I think Jedi Revan is the way to go for you at this account. I think definitely get Darth Revan down the line, but I'd be working on finishing out Jedi Revan. I'd be working, if I'm you, I'm working on my Night Sisters, Jedi Revan, and Grievous. Those are where I'm going to be pointing my focus. I think that's really the move, because you've got some work here. For Night Sisters, you're going to want Daka, Ventress, Talzin, Zombie. Now you can run Talia. She's nearly 7, but for the Death Storm, you're going to need Initiate at 7, which is a galactic war currency. Pretty easy to do. And for the best team for PvP though is Daka, Ventress, Talzin, Zombie, and Spirit. And Spirit's out of the Cantina. She's on Plo Koon's ship node, and she's fantastic with her stuns and avoiding armor and all the fun stuff. So so that's something to do. I think that's the best move. Trying to get yourself a Jedi Revan, get your Night Sisters, and then I know it's crazy, but pick one team that you're working on and gear them. Gear them to G11, G12, I mean at least G11. So if you're going to work on, say, your Empire team, you want these 5 tunes as your like next best team, or maybe it's your Jedi or something. But just for example, say you want this team. Just lock down this team on your favorites, and no gear goes anywhere else. Not a single piece of gear goes anywhere but these 5 tunes. So that means, like, as soon as you see a plus sign here, you're placing it. Then you're going to place this one, and no other character gets gear. This one goes next. You work towards this, then you get him to 10. Now you've got 3 here. Go down these 3. Then he's at G11, and then and so on and so forth until you get the team to where you want to be. You really got to put that focus in, man. You're really, really, really going to appreciate it once you start getting that as your normal strategy for building up a team. Like I genuinely believe you've got the bones of a couple of good teams here. They just need the gear to really be effective. So like here, for instance, Bastula's 2 away from G10. I know she has 2 pieces of raid gear, but still, like, I think one of these pieces is raid gear and the other one's maybe a stun gun. I'm not 100% sure. But, like, if this is the Jedi team is what you want next, which is probably going to be Bastila, Yoda, Anakin, Ezra, and Bindo, then basically gear here, G10. Gear here, G10. You know, like down here, gear here, G9. And so on and so forth. And you're going to want to place the Zeta on Bindo here, and have this just be like a 3 Zeta team until you get Jedi Revan. Then you can turn, then hopefully you turn your focus eventually to that Grievous team that you were working on. You get your Padme, you focus on Padme, and you've already got Anakin, Ahsoka, and eventually you'll have GK popped. I'm not sure how far away you are on that. But this is kind of like, this is the best advice I can give you, is just focus on one team, and then pick a character, get him up, move to the next character, get him up, etc., 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 until you get to the team to where you want it to be. If you're like, okay, well, I'm taking this team from scratch, I want them all at G9 before I go back and gear like this 1 gear level on my, I don't know, I'm going to throw out a name, on my Death Trooper. Then get that team across the board to gear 9, go work on Death Trooper, get Death Trooper where you want, then go back to that team and get it to, you know, your G10, G11, and then once you get a couple of your teams at G11, you can start going, okay, these guys need to be G12, and then you start getting them to G12. So like when you look at your rebels, because now you've got a Millennium Falcon, and I've just clicked on a random rebel there, but no, it's big, so it could have worked. But like, look at what we've got here in terms of rebels. They're kind of all over the place. Now, Phoenix are all, it looks like Phoenix, Ezra Chopper, Hera are at 9, Zeb and Kanan at 8, and Sabine's at 8. That's fine. That's fine. They're Phoenix. The Phoenix ships, they do decently as second, third, fourth kind of reinforcement kind of guys. I think that's totally fine in the fleet. But when you come down here and you look at Biggs, I'm sorry, but Biggs has got to be... Like, I've got my Biggs at G10, and I feel that that's terrible. Like, after CLS, which is my next focus, I'm trying to get Biggs to probably G12 because I need him there. Akbar is 2 away from G9. Akbar needs to be G11, G12 for the speed. He really does for your Rebel fleet. You know, you're looking here, K2, Jin, and Cassian. They only need to be like G8, so finish out Cassian's G8, maybe get Jin to G8, that kind of thing, get him up to 85. Then your Cassian's U-Wing is usable. You know, like your Chewie looks good, he needs some candy, but that'll come eventually. Han Solo, you got to finish him out. You got to get him up to like G10, G11 pretty quickly. Just to solidify the fleets. I know the fleets they're normally your focus, but you're doing so well in fleets. But eventually other people will catch up, and it'll be harder to get those number ones. So this is something to just keep in mind, that you're going to need to work in those pilots and really work on that Rebel fleet, as well as get your Empire up and get your Jedi up and get, you know, your Night Sisters up and so on and so on and so forth. While still trying to farm for General Grievous and still trying to farm for Darth Revan, like these kind of things. Anyway, I think that's about as best as I can do now. So we're gonna go ahead and come back here, and we're gonna look at. I'm just curious at who's the fastest on his roster. Django, not really surprising. Bosk, Sabine, that's kind of shocking. Okay, 82, that's not super fast. What about Django? What's his mod set like? 89, alright. That could be a bit faster. I mean, mods are such a crapshoot, but I did make a rambly, drunken video with my brother about mods. I'll make a more concise one later, where I kind of go through how I get mods and like what's good and whatnot, because that was my first one was more a conversation about it and the introductory of. But anyway, like I said, there's bones to a lot of good teams here. I think there's a lot of work that can be done, but this could really turn into a really top account, because there's a lot of stuff that's here that's good. Essentially, look at that, 6-star for Nest. Well done on that. I didn't even notice. But yeah, once again, Nest is someone that needs to be G11, G12 with the Zeta to really be effective. And so that's the roster review for this evening. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, smash the thumb down video. Jesus, I can't talk right now. But smash the thumbs down. Give us a subscribe. And if you'd like to see more roster reviews, I've got my Discord link in the video description. Come on by and have a natter with us in my bullshit channel. And have a good night. Take care.